Hello, everybody. How goes the Monday? Starting a little bit early because I kind of forgot maintenance was going to happen here in about 4.5 hours. So I figure let's do the thing before maintenance hits. See how far we get, yeah? Alright. I should probably get a better intro, but eh. Anyways, like I said, hope your Monday's going well. Mine is a Monday. It's about to be made better because streaming, doing the one thing I like doing. Yeah. Like the title says, we are back on MSQ after dealing with Alexander and Omega. Seeing no storylines or conclusions. And now we start 4.1, which I believe is rebuilding Mhigo, if I remember right. Also why you saw me like readjusting stream title and everything, because I was like, oh yeah, maintenance is later. So I had to kind of scramble. There's a small part of me that didn't even think about streaming today either, just because maintenance starts at 9, but I was just like, you know what, eh. Okay, so Stormblood Part 3. The liberation of Mhigo signals the end of an era of tyranny. Here, on the cusp of a new age of freedom, her people must decide how they will greet their future and reconcile with their past. What path lies ahead for Lise and her efforts to rebuild the nation? What choices plague Fordola from within her prison cell? And to where will Rabond return, now that the dream for his homeland has at last become a reality? Commence. Need to adjust my map. Should be good.
Come to see how we're getting on?
I was fully expected to voice that.
We've made good progress since we took back Mhigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here. Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The Reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
It's a pretty,
Aye, aye, Commander.
probably not the biggest list.
Ah, there you are. I've been searching all over for you. But don't
Yeah.
worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me?
Sure.
I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure? After all, we were adventurous before we were scions, were we not?
Yeah, fair point.
After routing the Imperials and liberating Mhigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots?
Alright, what you got planned?
So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
You twist my arm, why don't you? Ominous thunderclap. Alright then, let's go and find Master Livia. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little adventure. Wait for us by the Aetherite, and we'll be along shortly. See you there. Greetings, Linkus. It would seem we are to accompany our involved in some manner of escapade. Have you any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? We're about to find out. Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No snoring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Mhigo was still a monarchy and Theodoric sat at the throne. A uniquely brutal despot, by all accounts. Right he was. The King of Ruin suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and its dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with Rauga's Reach being burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it's said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Ah, I believe I see the direction our adventure is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty. You assume correctly. Would I also be correct in assuming that the legend is widely known? Others must surely have gone in search of your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course we won't be the first to make the attempt. Following Mhigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the palace upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn until dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust drained away as quickly as it came, and the legend of the Mad King's Trove remained simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting the story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me the thought doesn't set your heart to racing. Go on an adventure, find a treasure? Isn't that what we started with? Isn't that how most careers begin? The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the imperial province of Dalmasca has already risen up in rebellion, which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arnvald, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere, so probably need to ask around. Wouldn't that be another way of saying no? Well, yeah. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archivist and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. If they uncovered the trove during your occupation, the event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants. In official... hi, Britt and folks. Hello? That's a previous expansion's boss. I think you mean to say another thing. How went the grind, Britt? And welcome everybody. Make me wish I actually had a face cam on right now instead of just this logo blocking chat, but that'll probably be versus Shadowbringers. So, hello everybody. I'm Linkus. I've been going through New Game Plus, through pretty much all of Final Fantasy, on Stormblood Part 3 up here, as you can see, which is, I believe, patches 4.1, 2, and 3. Just started, about not even a half hour ago. I've been trying to voice act everything best as I can. Sniffy McSweet, thank you for the follow. Yeah. So, let's see if I can do it with the crowd watching. I was finally able to raid you. Yeah, I know, right? I decided to start somewhat early because of maintenance. Don't mind us, just have fun. I will. Alright. Yeah, I just started, I believe this is patch 4.1. And if you have any questions about anything, I usually put it in the title, but I haven't been lately. The floor is completely open for discussion because I've personally done all of pretty much everything there is to do in this game, so feel free to speculate, feel free to talk about events, either past, current, or future. Whatever you want to talk about, floor is completely open. Alright, well, backed out. Speaking out to Alphano. Given that they would have been at least 20 at the time, you would be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arnvald, pray try your luck in the fringes and the peaks while Slinkus makes hit the rounds in the Alamigan quarter. Ha! And there I was, thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We'll meet afterwards at Gilbard's Gate. Please tell us why smile is the best. Because a smile better suits a hero. Frog not smile. Well, I guess there's records of a frog that cleaves a mountain in two. Excuse me, sir, you know anything about a treasure? In the palace? No, not me, lad. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. used to hold public executions up on a divine audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say English is hard. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the palace as possible. Acceptable answer? Okay, we'll go with that. You want to hear old maid stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see His Royal Majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he ordered, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow. They wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. You used to work in the palace? I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric, and lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which, of course, we were under orders to ignore. So he'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street and ask old Ernold. He was the king's head scribe. Alright. Yes, I'm Ernold. What do you want with me? About this treasure hidden in the palace. You would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Alamiga is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well. I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know Theodoric's paranoia and the public execution of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days, the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share this madness, then mayhap it is a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. Well, Alfredo's going to love that news. Spooky ghosts. Oh. We're right down here. Well, since we're all here, why don't we share what we learned? Allow me to begin then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures, and found precisely none. It is just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or the Imperials somehow overlooked it. But what of you, Linkus? Were your investigations any more fruitful? Well, might be something hidden below the palace and there's ghosts. Turn into monsters? What could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Alagiri who spoke of the palace subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. Imperial archives are also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could the scrap fellow have been spinning him a yarn, do you think? You believe him like us? He's seemed pretty fearful. feels afraid, it does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Don't be so hasty. Ernald's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden. But ere I share my theory, there is a matter I would clarify. Arnvald, we spoke of light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was emerging third eye, like the kind you see on pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage and took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Mhigo, a feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I could say about the years I followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually, I left the city behind me and I joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and that road led me to the company of the Scions. I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With Theodric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arvald, and I apologize. I cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Linkus, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arnvald's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? Yeah, we could do that. And I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you are minded to hear it. We're gonna look for a bit as I stretch and do something. Okay, Britt. Enjoy your stretch and your things. You're doing. Thank you. That means a lot. By the way, how's my voice compared to like the game and whatnot? Is it louder, on par, softer? Actually, mayhap it would be better if we first adjourned to a more suitable location. It's perfect? Alright, thank you. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean. Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene in the southern edge of Loch Seld. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear a pony was up somewhere, but I think we killed that yesterday. Forgive me. 'Twas not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wished to have the loch in sight while I explained things. Prior to the great flood of the 6th Umbral calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines. And this, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the 5th Astral Era. From what we know of this period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by war. Yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Loch Seld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace, mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe was not a reference to the prison, but to a place still further below, the ruins of Scala. I further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there, not simply out of a desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they were meant to guard the Mad King's trove? Precisely. And since we know the court thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and gods know how many Alamegans never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Lingus, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arnvald and I will seek out an ensorcelled portal within the palace. Well, who needs a Kojin's blessing when you can just hop on a beetle, right? Cockroach? Beetle, cockroach. You discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find out where it goes. Come to a ruined stone door, standing temptingly ajar. It would appear you have found an entrance to the subterranean ruins. Linkus, it's Alphino. We have searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you aught to report? Yeah, I found a door under the water. And you believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed from our respective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, lads. We might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find a treasure. Treasure. Godspeed. Excuse me. Yeah. There you are. Long ago, in the dawn of the fifth. Okay, let me try that again because English is a very difficult language. Long ago, in the dawn of the fifth astral era, the modest nation of Scala was founded in the land of Garabania. Over the span of several centuries, its people constructed a grand city of stone at the bottom of a steep walled ravine. But even this natural defense could not protect Scala from destruction during a terrible age of war. When the great flood of the Sixth Umbral Calamity later swept across the realm, the hollow ruins of the city were lost to sight, its remnants submerged beneath the raging sea. Haunting the depths of what is now Loch Seld, Scala's silent walls lure adventurers into the salt-laden waters with the promise of mysteries unsolved and treasures unclaimed. Yeah, boy, 14 minutes. Anybody in chat might want to come along? Just need a tank, a healer, and a DPS if you want to jump in. I guess if nothing else, while waiting for the queue, do what I normally do. Switch to Summoner. And I believe... And you'll discover a thing when you're in New Game Plus. I can't see a damn thing. May as well fake ground while waiting for the queue. Which... Oh, right. Whoops. So now we're just fake grounded waiting for the queue. How's everybody's Mondays going? Ah, damn, I missed it. Oops. Pressure pop this. Do the next fate, which I assume is this. Hope everybody's having a good Monday or Tuesday if you're across the time zones. Alright, so what are we doing? Okay, pots of nectar. Oh boy. Oh, I'm dead. Whoops. Summoner, go squish. Alright, try it again with the right summon, if I'm going to do that. You go figure, you have a tank cut out. It's actually easier to kite 3 or kill 3 mobs. How many? 12 pots should be enough. Nope. No. Now I'm finally remembering how to play Summoner. This is actually getting easier. So you have chosen death. Time to run. Not even close. Wrong button. So, interesting fact about this boss when it was first released, whenever it cast Hydra Push or Hydra Pull, it actually did the opposite. Because Kelpies are tricksters, lore-wise. But I guess it is eventually reverted it back to they do what the ability says because people were mad about it or something. I forget the reasoning. Tank needs a minute. And also, if you have a blue mage and you fight that boss, you get the ability Hydro Pool. One of the more useful blue spells in my opinion. get old one. Soon to be the dead one. Step away again. They're coming. Okay. Apparently, I already have it. I apparently have aggro. Going for it. All right, let's go. figure. I'll be in a cutscene and Ixion's up. And that figure. Gilded Manticore. Or, I think. Yeah, I got 2 comms out of that. Nice.
Oh, bugger it.
Are you all right?
Aye. Aye. Everything's still attached.
Ah, it seems both our paths led here. Very good. We spent altogether too much time fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
More or less the same.
Much the same, then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
Terrible, aye. But Their misfortune is our fortune?
Quite. By the 12, there is even more than I imagined.
Oh, I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
It's just like we're a national treasure. Even the skies are cursed. Thought we left the demons inside the vault. Hi, Tessa. Irewald and I forged ahead at the fastest pace we could manage, but I was not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time we should agree on some manner of handicap. We may have lost Alphino, but think of what we found. Quite. I'm still reeling at the sight of that mountain of riches. What, like how you reeled at the sight of that floating spectre, you mean? Should have heard him scream, Linkus. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that is all that matters. He's still scared of ghosts. All jesting aside, we must tell people the good news, and I think Leash should be the first. Seconded, there is to be a meeting of representatives from Recas Alamigo, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? We cleansed the drowned city of Scala of all the ghosts and specters, but one remained. Oh? You three look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Lise, and I'm pretty sure you're going to like the answer. So we found a bunch of ghosts, then we found a bunch of gold. You're joking. The Mad King's trove? I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people. They didn't have Linkus and Alphino in no party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote that it goes towards alleviating the suffering of Alamigo's poor. Gods, if there's as much as you say... Arnvald did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it on our own. I have taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, you should be able to follow the route to where the treasure lies. Understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, there is one other thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alphino. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve anything, but I don't readily tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I welcome any advice you would give us, Alphino. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what's happened. A mob's gathered outside headquarters, and they started making demands. You'd best come and see for yourself. Demands of what?
Get back! All of you!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Bring her out! Bring her out!
That one woman is
What's
mad.
going on?
Someone let slip about Fedora.
It's true then! The bitch really is in there! I knew it! I bloody knew it! We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Butcher the... Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye! And my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about. Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
Hey, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers. I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
I know you're right, I do. But I can't.
And I think with that cutscene, I think I'll step up and take my first break for the day. Get up, stretch my legs, grab some more water, all that good stuff. I implore you folks out there to do the same, and I shall be right back. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, we back. And hopefully less water going down the wrong pipe and me coughing for about a good 20 seconds. I hate that. Alrighty. My thanks, Ralbon. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas that same rage which brought us to our feet and carried us to victory. And now that the war is over, all the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, and it's not just here. There are reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Gallians. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But maybe the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders, and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we've planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited the Anata and the Kikaroon to participate. Mhigo stands at a crossroads, and this meeting will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fodola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. Mhigo, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated, and anyone who didn't resist? There'd be no one left. It would be no better than Theodoric and Xenos. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fordola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past. A moment of it, anyway, during the fight. She's done terrible things, aye, unforgivable things. But in some ways, she's a victim of the circumstances from which she was born, and that's something I can understand. All right, speak with the prison guard when you're ready, and I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. Excuse me. I'll return to my other duties then. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fordola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions color your judgment when she does. The commander's permission to enter, then?
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom. Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
You're wasting your time. All of this is pointless! There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it! I killed your men. I killed my men. And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
That's a lie, and you know it! You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want. You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fedora. I see you for what you are.
Come along, Fadola. We mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right! Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
I don't know how that dude didn't get socked in the mouth, but okay.
Fadola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of arms.
We're citizens. We have rights.
Ah!
Father, I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive. Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
Fadola, please! You already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods! What have you done to your face?
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honoring Father's memory.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage. So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time. It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes, wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past? And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they? Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led! The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay! You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone. The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting. Yet there you stand. Unbroken. How? Why?
Technically, it's because I haven't done Dark Knight quest yet on stream, but for serious, for those I have lost, for those I can yet save.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye, and I've found something too to think about too. I don't know about you, Linkus, but the visions only come to me every now and then. When the way Fordola kept wincing, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. There's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who is born with the echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the Immortal Flames have been scouring that research facility ever since the liberation. There's a chance they might have some answers for us. General Alden's there overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? It's probably a fate I wouldn't wish on anyone. To basically see for yourself in your mind's eye all the pain and suffering you've caused people as they walk by. And you know, not to your knowledge, can do anything to stop it. General Alden is inside, aye. Will you be joining him? What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it? Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arnval noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the Echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been hard-pressed to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, I'd welcome the Scion's expert assistance, if you have the time to lend a hand. These bastards would fiddle with a man's soul if it served their purpose. Nothing is sacred to them. Nothing. For a race with no innate capacity to manipulate ether, the Garleans have conducted some exceedingly elaborate etheric experiments. Yeah. This was Cryol's pod. The device in which Cryol was held seems even more ominous now that you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, while this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks believed a request from the Alliance. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain the ether of the occupant. Save that one right there. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. Up here? No, not up here. Ah, there it is. So many bodies. Every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible ether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated. Linkus, shall we start with you? Well, these machines basically suck the ether out of people, except for cryo. Taken in combination with the testimonies of Cryo and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed suffusing a single candidate with ether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Cryo, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Cryo's echo. I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Cryo is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Fordola. The soldiers who guard Fordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. And there's a sentry at her door night and day. If she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past... But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, Ysael was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hraesvelg's past. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the events of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these God's-forsaken procedures, and Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, Loss. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. I go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Raban. You have more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. General Alden is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have yet to learn. I wonder what he'll do when everything in here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going through the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? Here's a quandary which countless refugees now face. To continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or start again in the lands of their birth. Lycus, a moment? I am newly returned from Ul'dah with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. Audience with the Sultana? Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those. Alpha no. Not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of him, Lycus. Yeah. Although the last time we had a meeting, basically the entire city collapsed. Technically. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows us no signs of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arnvald? I am at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad that'll head down into the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send on the Mower guards, Lycus. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Rule. Wonder how many of these folks here are sprouts and getting their minds blown away right now. My lord, it was an honor to face you in a tournament. Since that day, I spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Ah, forgive me. You are here with your audience with the Sultana. Please proceed. Wait. Did we fight him in the tournament? Or the Paladin questline? I don't remember.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future.
Okay, she's leading with the question, not me.
All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Okay.
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
And the quicksand. Perchance you remember Lyra, the merchant's daughter? This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Pampashan would accompany me, but for this particular outing I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life, in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the Gate of Nald. I remember Lyra. It's also how I got introduced to Thancred. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor, at the mercy of the elements and Thanalan's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is, and unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. Excuse me. 20 years have passed since the fall of Mhigo, and 5 since the calamity, yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. You've done your best, the best you can, Your Grace. Yet my best has not been good enough. Shall we press on? One would follow the road to the unholy air. Oh yes, the big tree. It was here, in this wholly unremarkable place, that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in eastern Thanalan when an untimely rockslide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Ralban once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' death were orchestrated by the Monitarists, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price for my naivety. But I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in a monitor's damnable games. Forgive me my outburst. You are one of the few people with whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Uldar and visit the Colosseum. And back to Uldar? Okay. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years I simply signed what I was told to sign, and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from all that how do you say this word? Ignominious chapter in my life. For it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raubahn. The match I had been invited to attend was not all what I expected. They had pitted the bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which I had arranged for Raubahn to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raubahn had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did, and when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theatre. But as you know, Raubahn is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the Blood Sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the Syndicate. And then I had my blade. Yep. There's our Echo flashback.
You mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raubahn!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar. And so, as tradition dictates, Raubahn Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace. and vow to serve with every fibre of my being from this day till my last.
Isso é só pra dar cutscene.
Long live the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Sean's love for me is as that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Ralbon, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan's Sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Zenith ossuary. The Black Mage Guild? When the calamity threatened, Ralbon led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cotonou, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Soir would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting the shrine during each of my little excursions. Here, I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Uldar. I have chosen my path, Lakis. With Ala Mhigo now freed from imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already, many displaced Ala Mhigans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate that process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan school in Raga's Reach for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Uldan Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the Syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Mandeville? Well, now I am, since I've done Hildebrand questlines. Then I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us. It's a good thing I didn't port to the Gold Saucer. I have ridden upon a public airship before, but this will be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. That reminds me, while I'm here, I don't think I've done my tickets today, have I? Time to fail live on stream. Well. And go for it. Damn. That one wasn't much better. We take those. Not bad. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. No, I could possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. God, but will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Wonder Square West. I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Mandeville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? My apologies, your grace. I've kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When my son's good friend, the Sultana herself, come calling, there is no more important engagement. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalan. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland, and so you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter on how it might be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting, and your grace's choice of a companion, I would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is, stop. Taxing Uldal's wealth the same Alamigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most empathetically, I agree with your grace that the refugees must have housing and employment. More profit is there for Uldal in this arrangement. Profit? After all you have done for Girabanya's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, your grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save these refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we must consider Uldal's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of your spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people in Uldal. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Mandeville. I thank you for your candor. I don't care what anybody says. A certain individual gave that man a voice, and that's his canon voice. I only wish I could do it just as good as he does. Prophet? The thought never even crossed my mind. Standing about lamenting my naivety will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Linkus, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at how do you say this word? Philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Oh yeah, Hancock. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldeno Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Even though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers will want to do, I shall await your report at the 8th Rite in Ul'dah. A fair journey to you, Linkus, and a swift one, if you please. Kugane. Not Ruby Price, you dummy. Ruby Bazaar is what you want, you dingus. Hello, good sir. It's been a minute. Would you let me in? Linkus, to what do I owe the pleasure? Or are you here on business? Yeah, we're here on business, and the Sultana wants to assist people and blah 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 blah. Beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Ul'dah. My dear Linkus, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure, and I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered. Why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon the matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his garderobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting with you, say at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalan. The Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venture for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Linkus. May your dealings prove fruitful. Why am I sucking so bad at English today? What the hell? I know English is a difficult language, but I'm usually decent at it. Welcome back, Linkus. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? Yeah, he said talk to Lolorito. With Lolorito? And you agreed to this? I am well aware of his standing in the field of business, but I had hoped to keep the monitress at arm's length, and him in particular. Nay, I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Oldar effectively. Very well, I will meet with Lolorito. Let us go on ahead to the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. Hey, even though you probably hate the guy, he technically serves you, so he's a weapon at your disposal. Use him. So this is where the Scions first congregated. I have heard many tales, but never had the occasion to visit. To work then. The hour of the meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have the appointed room to ourselves.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help. You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask.
Oh, 1 point to Nanamo.
There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira? Hmm?
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I'm glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I'm most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Uldar and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more. To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Uldar. Huh, I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment.
Probably the saltery. There's a hell of a lot of salt there, just waiting to be taken.
Yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld. I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gill.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenar Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ounce of profit from its production. The Loch's bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
A deal is struck then.
Let us farm some salt. I fear it will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations. But I shall not complain. We have piqued Lolarito's interest and secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Linkus. I could not have done it without you. Our course is decided. I shall return to the palace and have my ministers begin work on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, Linkus, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiation to Commander Hext on your return to Alamigo. My thanks again. Together, we have laid the groundwork for an endeavor which promises to benefit the peoples of Alamigo and Uldar both. That's why. Linkus, you're back! What did Donamo... Oh, sorry. Are you allowed to talk about your audience with the Sultana? Yeah, we want to rebuild the Saltery. So, Ralban says he's going to return to Uldar, but she isn't sure she isn't sure he wants to. Tell us something we don't know. But I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping our refugees come home. And this plan to revitalize the Saltery does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lolarito's help is another question. After all that has happened, he is the very last person I would expect her to turn to for advice. But on a more practical note, please, assuming the interim government elects to accept Uldar's proposal, I have one caveat that I should like you to include in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal, after all, and allowing Uldar to provide the entirety of the capital will afford Lolarito too much control. Honestly, Alphino, it's like Hugane never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do to earn your trust? Yes, you do make a good point. First things first, though, we need to discuss the proposal with the Saltery's residents. Whiskar, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear that Watt thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. By the way, Commander, would you mind coming along, Lucas? I might need you to fill in the details. Then I shall come as well. Should Watt wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances may prove useful. I honestly don't remember what voice I gave Whiskar, so I'm just going to bounce around until I find one that suits him. What manner of mischief brings you young as the old Watt this time? You want to rebuild the saltery, Granddad? Lucas, tell him about the deal. Man, want to turn this place back into what it once was. Oh, bugger me! Never had the coin or the hands to put the place back to how it was. But it sounds like that's about to change. There's just one small wrinkle in your plan. It doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to eat anyone who goes near the shore. The king used to send soldiers to call the buggers, but the Imperials weren't about to keep the likes of us. Or help the likes of us, I should say. Hey, Granddad, we'll take care of all that. Commander Hex has been talking about starting up regular patrols, and I'm sure she'd assign me to the lock if I asked. I'd appreciate that, Whiskar, my lad. Truly I would. So does this mean you've gotten better with that blade of yours? I've been training, but mostly to kill Imperials. You've some experience hunting monsters, don't you, Linkus? I think you could cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them. Yeah, I could do that. Let's not waste any time then. I'll see you by the lock. Whilst you are busy attending to the local fauna, I shall have Master Watt explain to me exactly what is required to restore the saltery to its former glory. Good hunting. Oops. Alright then, Linkus. I've got a spyglass here you can use to take a look at these pests. Once you've gotten their measure, you can tell me what to do, and we'll see how well they get on. Look at the majestic Yabby. Looks like you found a Yabby. You say hitting those shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestions? I don't really want to say this, but just punch it in the jaw. It's glass. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Right then. Wish me luck. Thanks, Lucas. I did just as you told me and the wavekin went down like a sack of popotos. Let's find something else. think I can handle the Abbeys now, so we should try something different. What else is out there? Well, for Feebad. I think it's how you say that name. Feebad's hands are large and powerful, but destroying its crystallized core should render a salt golem inanimate. You sense power pulsating from behind its brow. Feebad. How do I defeat one of those? Say it really, really hard as you can. Destroy the core within its brow. Inside its head, is it? Try to stab it right between the eyes, then. It's not easy fighting with the Liberator of Alamigo watching your every move. I got the job done. Thanks for the advice, Linkus. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. Anyway, we should head back to the saltery before Granddad starts to worry. I've been snipped into pieces and fed to a Yabby's hatchlings. It was all one sentence. I thought it was separate for some reason. I see you've returned in one piece. Dealt with those little beasties then, did you? I fought them myself. After a bit of instruction from Linkus here, once I've shared what I've learned with the others, we should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. You're a good lad. A fine young man you've become, Whiskar. A fine young man indeed. Too often of late I hear tales of folk over in the city, drunk on victory and hungry for revenge, their heads stuck firmly in the past. But we need to set our sights on the future, on things which will improve our lot. Things like getting the saltery ready to welcome our long-lost countrymen. It seems Whiskar has the saltery security well in hand. I, meanwhile, have discussed the next steps with Master Watt and completed the inspection of the site. With a little work, the vacant buildings here could be made into very presentable dwellings. Message from General Alden. Apologies for the interruption, sir, but the General would speak with you at your earliest convenience. Bow. I feel obliged to wait around on my account. I will remain here to hammer out the final details with Watt and act as an intermediary with our business partners in Ordar. You should go. General Alden asks that you wait for him by the main gate in Alamigan Quarter. My apologies again, sir. Fare you well. I really should have done the grind to become a captain of the Immortal Flames for all this stuff. Be addressed as a damn captain. Why is it foggy? No fog in a desert. That's a lie, there is fog in a desert. Can confirm.
Apologies for the wait. People are screaming for the butcher's blood again. No sooner have we broken up one mob than another forms. Thankfully, all have been amenable to reason, thus far. But it is no concern of yours. We must speak of the men Arenvald and his comrades apprehended in the peaks.
By their uniforms, the captives were first judged to be Imperial troops. But after further investigation, their true identities came to light. I dare say you remember Yuyuhasi and Laurentius, the fugitives who conspired with Captain Ilberd in the Crystal Brave's betrayal. Aye, well, it would seem they followed him all the way to the wall. It was they who orchestrated the slaughter of the Resistance fighters prior to the Griffin's infernal ritual.
Were it in your hands, how would you punish these men?
Their lives are forfeit, especially Laurentius, because he betrayed us once before in the MSQ when we were a wee lad of like level 25. Yu Hase is a Lalafell, and he's evil by default.
Hear, hear. There is no more fitting sentence for the perpetrators of such a massacre, and that is but one of their crimes. In any event, I thank you for your honesty. When the time comes for the Alliance to pass judgment, I'll see that your opinion is heard. Well, that concludes our business here. But there is more I would say. Walk with me. I bear a share of the blame for Ilberd's atrocities. Had I openly supported the cause of Alamegan liberation, he might not have felt driven to do what he did. Things could have been different, and I'm sorry they aren't.
Yeah, it wasn't on you, dude.
But even after all that has happened, my homeland is free. With the Scions and the Alliance at their side, my countrymen have reclaimed what many thought lost forever. Under her new leadership, I have every confidence that Mhigo will emerge from the shadow of the Empire and rise once more to greatness. Which means my work here is done. Soon I will return to Uldar and take my place at the Sultana's side.
Father...
I'll not deny there's a part of me that wants to stay. The same part that contemplated renouncing my rank and joining you as a wandering sellsword.
Really?
But I pledged my blade to Nanamo, and I will not betray that oath.
Is this truly what you want, Father?
It is. Ever has my sword been hers to command, and ever shall it remain. Thank you for lending an ear. When all the rest are clamoring for me to stay, I trust you'll send me on my way.
It took longer than I intended, but at least you know where I stand. Now that's settled. Envoy, what news? We may have a problem, sir. A group of Ananta had arrived at the main gates, and I don't mean the Vera. These are Kaliana, the ones that summoned the Primal. They're insisting that they be allowed to attend the council. Lisa's trying to reason with them, but she may need help. An invitation was extended to all the native beast tribes, but we assumed the Kaliana would refuse it out of hand. We'd best go and see for ourselves. Pippin, take command of our forces, and be ready for battle. I guess you've dealt with these Kaliana before. I'd have you at my side. I'm sure the way to just fly straight up into this game, but I mean you can, but it's slow. Like you can fly straight down with no problem, but you can't fly straight up. It's kind of like an 80-degree angle. Lakis, Raban, God, it's good to see you. Ah, the Slayer has come. We have not forgotten how you sinned against the Lady of Bliss, but we did not come here to shed blood. You claim to seek harmony with all those who call Garabanya home. If this is truly your wish, you will welcome us as envoys of the Anata. It is our wish, and you are welcome, but we cannot condone the summoning of primals. If you want to enter the palace, I must ask that you first surrender any crystal jewelry. You have my word that it will all be returned to you when the meeting is over. We will do as you ask, but you will not have our weapons. We are not so foolish as to place ourselves entirely at the mercy of our tormentors. I reckon that's as close as we're going to get to a compromise, and we will have people standing guard. Aye, let them keep those swords. And we have an agreement. Lead the way to your meeting chamber. Why do I have the feeling we've welcomed a viper into our midst? Maybe? This Kalyana elder's intentions seem at odds with all we know of her tribe. What think you, Linkus? I don't think we trust him at all. Aye, it is said that once a creature has fallen under the sway of a primal, there is no salvation. And I strongly doubt the Kalyana have suddenly broken free of Lakshmi's will. Whatever the truth, I would take no chances. The god must be strengthened, ideally with people who know a thing or two about primals. Can we rely on the Scions? Yes, you can. I'll round up our comrades and send them to the Alamedian quarter. You can go on ahead if you like, Linkus. Oh, that was Arnold that said that, not Robin. But thanks. I will see you in the palace. Angus, about reinforcements. Arnval told me of the arrival of unexpected guests, and I agreed that it would be prudent to call upon you stolen in Thancred as well. One can never be too careful when dealing with the enthralled. I am not familiar with the Kaliana tribe myself, but Alizé's report suggested that they shunned contact with other races. Despised it, in fact, even compared to other than Nalta. Indeed, this apparent reversal in attitude is most curious. No one expected a response to our invitation, much less an envoy. I imagine Lys was forced to make some rather hasty arrangements in order to accommodate them. Speaking of which, how should we deploy ourselves? If the meeting is to be held in the throne room, it would seem wise to have eyes both inside and outside the palace. Mistola and I can stand guard without. That leaves the three of you to keep watch over proceedings in the throne room itself. Understood. We should join General Alden inside then. Angus, do you know of the rear entrance to the palace? It's on the eastern edge of the city, on top of the stairs. The guard there should have been instructed to let us pass. With the Scion, sir. General Alden left orders that you were to be escorted inside. If you'll follow me.
Thank you all for coming. I am Lys Hext, and I speak for the Resistance. Among you are village elders, refugee leaders, envoys from the Ananta and the Kikern. You've come from every corner of Girabania to help decide the future of Alamigo. But before that, I want to ask you a question. What was the first thing you noticed when you came in? For me, it was that empty throne. It has no one to sit on it now. No viceroy, no king. Would any of you like to take their place? Or should someone else sit there? Then let's sit here in a circle, as equals, and I hope, as friends.
Expertly done. Lys has removed monarchy as a choice early in the game, and positioned them to consider a joint government. All things considered, I would say events have got off to a fine start.
And that is Alagana's stance on the matter.
Thank you, Ravenford. Another vote in favor. Next, let's hear from Shanti of the Kaliana. Tell us, how do your people feel about the idea of a republic?
The Ananta wish only that those who dwell within Girabania devote themselves to our faith. You shall all worship Sri Lakshmi!
There the hand goes on the hilt.
Lady of bliss, grace us once more with your beauteous visage.
Welp. Shit.
This can't be happening. No crystals were allowed through the door.
We can worry about the how of it later. We need to evacuate these people right now, or the Primal will make thralls of them all.
It's up to us.
Gods damn it! The guards were already turned! Fools!
No, you don't!
The Kaliana would see us all enthralled.
Then they're going to be sorely disappointed. We have the Warrior of Light and Arenvol to shield us.
Aye, but they can't well defend your guests and attack the Primal, can they? We're stuck on the back foot.
All right, I think I have an idea. Keep these people safe, General. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Whatever she's about, she'd best make it quick. Come then. Who will be next to die on my steel?
How do we fight her without leaving our allies wide open? We can't stay on the back foot forever. No, damn it. If I think like this, we've already lost. I have the Warrior of Light at my side. We can do this. Isn't that right, Lakis? Sri Lakshmi 2.0 Electric Boogaloo. Done a fine job of blocking our retreat. We must break through. Forget the Primal and focus on the foe before you.
I offer you peace and serenity.
To give up the freedom we worked so hard to win? Not likely. Do not your mortal bodies tire. Far better to dwell in dream. Keep our eyes open, thank you very much.
shall free you from your hate!
Too many. You can't stop them all.
Damn it all! It's only a matter of time before we miss one.
What of it? Do you want to kill this thing or not?
Alright then, let's go. Strange bedfellows be damned. Why? Why do you deny my blessing? You who defy shall rest in death. I brought you into this world over a mistake I made, and I'll be damned if I let you taunt me with it. I'll cut us a path. Stand ready. Cannot flee my radiance. You'll all be my dreamers. We'll lock her down as best we can. The rest of you need to run. Quickly now, while the primal is... Lise? I can't run away from this. They need us. We stand and fight together. Alpha Note, the envoys are in your care. Surely you do not mean to... Very well. I shall see our guests to safety. All of you, to me! Why are you two staying? She still has more than enough strength to addle you both. You'll need more than 3 of us to best a primal, and if we let you fall here, who will be left to stop her? Pitiful, misguided children. Lay down your weapons. Lay down your heads. I can't move! She's going after Lise and Raubon! My thanks, Lucas. I'll make sure my steel is worth the effort. Again and again you refuse my gift.
Do not your souls weigh heavy?
Just building up to something big. Come close to me, all of you. Nice work, Fodola. Are you alright, though? This is nothing. It's one thing after another. We have to fight as one. Oh wait, I'm thinking? Why do you bring me your misery? She's starting to weaken! Don't give up! Our vault DPS as aggro, turn on the tank stance. Behold, my divine brilliance! What in the... Her power's out of control! I'll shield us, but you have to finish her off! Quickly! I can't hold her off forever! Kill her! You need to kill her now!
Here it comes!
Hold on, Fordola. We end this now! For El Amigo!
We did it! We beat her!
At least you took my damn limit break.
What is this?
I'm only going to say this once. The Ananta just summoned their primal in the throne room. My friends are fighting her, but they need help. They need someone with the Echo, and by the gods, I wish I had it, but I don't. I told you before that you still had time, but things have changed. I need your answer now. You can end it like Xenos, or you can fight for Alamigo. Your choice.
Seven hells. It's her, the Butcher.
It's done. Take me back to my cell.
You are not forgiven. Not you. You I will never forgive. But I will thank you. For standing against a primal and saving us from servitude. You have my thanks.
One single tear. Well fought, Lincus Arnvold. That was a near thing. Aye, our stand against the Caliana would have been brief indeed had you not volunteered for guard duty. We'd be enthralled as surely as our sentries were. We must have planned this far in advance. Security was my responsibility, and I know how dangerous primals can be. I should have... God, it's my fault. It's my stupid mistake. Nay, lass, we were all caught unawares. We will take this as a lesson and watch our own more carefully in the future. You can be sure that the lackeys who smuggled the crystals into the throne room weren't the only thralls in our ranks. The soldier who first spoke up in favor of the Caliana keeping their weapons springs to mind. A primal servant is betrayed by Azara. If you mean to contact an investigation, I can identify any others lacking under Sri Lakshmi's influence. Thanks, Yastola. We'd appreciate the help. Now, speaking of help, I almost fell over when Fadolo turned up. What was she even doing here? I asked her to come. Well, that explains it then. It's sad, but Ragnfrid was right. Her victims will never forgive her for what she's done. But I don't think Ferdola picked up that sword looking for forgiveness. She wanted to fight for her country. If you say the world in which Ferdola grew up is partly to blame for what she became, then as an Alamegan, I feel responsible for improving that world. We can't ignore what's happening right now. We have to show people a better way than vengeance, or we risk giving birth to a new generation of skulls. I know it's idealistic, but I want to help people to let go of their old grievances and make peace with each other. And I'll hold 1,000 meetings and talk till I'm blue in the face, if that's what it takes. 'Tis a long and arduous path you have chosen, but one well worth taking. Rest assured that I will do what I can to help you to reach your destination. Thank you, Alphino. The first step will be to get our representatives back in the throne room. They're a little shaken, but not one of them seem ready to run. We're all determined to finish what we started. I will see that you're not interrupted. Lincus, you and the Scions ought to stand down. Get some rest. You've earned it. Britt, if you're still here, get some tissues. If he can do it again.
A fine spot to contemplate the heavens. The meeting is over. The envoys have chosen to instate a government modelled on Ishgard's House of Commons, a ruling body of representatives elected by the people. act is a fair decision, and one which signals the end of my part in all this. But I would gaze upon Girabania's stars one last time before I leave. Forget something? Your Grace, there was no word.
Raubon Aldin, you are hereby dismissed as General of the Immortal Flames and relieved of your seat on the Syndicate.
But, Your Grace...
Raubon, I am no longer a child. Stay here in your homeland. Work with your brethren. Rebuild Alamigo.
You desire to stand alone. I understand, but remember what happened.
I remember full well the consequences of my naivety, and thus did I consult at length with a most trusted advisor ere I embarked upon this course.
A most trusted advisor? And what of me? Am I no longer deserving of your confidence?
What trust can there be between us when you withhold the truth from me? Did you think me oblivious to the anguish in your eyes when you spoke of returning to Uldar? For years and years, we have trusted one another. Yet now you refuse to confess your heart's desire?
I swore an oath to you that day on the sands. I pledged my sword.
And it has served me well. But in Pippin you have forged a new sword, as sharp and deadly as the blade you bequeathed him. I will show you a Sultana who can wield every weapon at her disposal, including Lolorito and his monetarist cronies. So follow your heart, please. You are home. You are free.
Nanamo.
Smile for me, Raubon. I would have this parting be a joyous one.
Thank you, Your Grace. It has been an honor to serve you and Uldar.
Tomorrow you will serve Alamigo and fight for the good of all Eorzea. Am I understood?
Yes, Your Grace.
Fitting weather. Rain.
Thanks for shielding us from Lakshmi, you two. If you hadn't been there, the rest of us would be worshipping her by now.
You're kind to include me, Lise, but we both know who did most of the work. I could scarce keep track of the battle, let alone land a telling blow. No shame in admitting it. The Warrior of Light has put far better men than me in the shade.
You helped too, Arnvold.
Did I mention that I encountered the Sultana in the palace? It would seem Her Grace has come to Girabania to oversee the final stages of her relocation project. She was in search of General Oldin, and I directed her to the rooftop garden. I do hope he was still there.
Are you in the habit of gossiping about the affairs of royalty, Master Leveilleur?
Certainly not, Your Grace. I was merely informing my companions.
Be at ease, Alphino. 'Twas only a jest. But I must yield the floor to Raubarn. He has an important announcement to make.
As of yesternight, I have been relieved of my post in the Immortal Flames and the Syndicate both.
I shall be assuming my father's duties. And may I say that Tizona has never felt heavier upon my back.
Twould seem I am in need of employment. Mayhap one of my old acquaintances can introduce me to a mercenary company or some such.
You may be getting on in years, father, but you'd struggle to find a band of sellswords who wouldn't snap your hand off. Your remaining hand.
Come on, Pippin. Low blow.
Yes, the bull of Alamigo need not be put out to pasture just yet.
Your Grace has developed a wicked edge to her humor. And you, Pippin, would do well not to laugh when the future may hold the same for you.
Lalafels are all evil.
So, does this mean you're staying?
Aye. That seems to be the way of it. I would be glad to aid you in rebuilding our nation, if you'll have me.
If, he says. Welcome home, Raubarn.
Well, that was unexpected. Though you seem distinctly unsurprised.
I may have known.
Either you are more astute than I give you credit for, or I'm losing my touch. In any event, one thing is certain. Alamigo will rejoice at the homecoming of her dearest son.
I think it's about time I headed back to Rauga's Reach. What's next for all of you? Alize will be eager to hear of recent events, so I shall join you, if you got no objections. I'd welcome the company. Linkus, why don't you come along to the Reach as well? once you've said your farewells to Nanamo and the others. Pippin, I must assume Father's responsibilities without delay, lest our rivals, both inside and outside Uldar, treat his dismissal as a window of opportunity. Rest assured they will find Tizona's edge just as sharp in my hands. I have asked enough of you, Linkus. My only words for you now are those of gratitude. Ralbon? It seems my road has come full circle. I appreciate the support you showed for my earlier decision, overruled though it was. Well, here we are again. Alphino has regulated me with a thrilling tale of hidden treasure troves, mid-meeting betrayals, unlikely alliances, and joyous homecomings. It would seem I missed everything. I was patrolling the palace grounds with Thancred and Yastola when we heard the report of a primal in the throne room. I almost doubted my own ears. As all those have said, we were lucky to have our Echo-blessed champions nearby this time, but we'll need to keep a closer eye on the Kaliana. Oh, excuse me. You could say that again. This whole episode has reminded me just how far apart our kinds still are. It looks like centuries of fear and mistrust really can't be washed away in a day. Well, someone has to make an effort at reconciliation if these conflicts are ever going to end. Naturally, a lot of people are crying out for vengeance, but I've been doing my best to calm things down. Violent reprisals will only lead to more summonings. Indeed, violence will ever beget violence, as the Empire has learned to its cost in recent times. In any case, summoning Lakshmi was the Broodmother's doing, and whoever replaces her might not be so keen on the idea. We'll just have to watch and wait. Which isn't to say we won't be putting the safety of our allies in the Vera and M tribes first. I plan to have resistant scouts keep track of the Kaliana's movement at all times. My parents will be relieved to hear that. What are your plans for the rest of the resistance army out of interest? Are we to prepare for Imperial counterattacks? That would be a question for the Resistance's newest recruit, a military commander with far more experience than me. What? The Bull of Alamigo? We call it an army, but the Resistance is really a collection of smaller independent groups. And when Conrad passed his command on to me, that authority only extended to the freedom fighters based in Raga's Reach. He just happened to be serving as the Resistance spokesman at the time, and needed someone to take over the role while everything was in disarray. But that time has passed. When I speak with the other leaders about reforming the army under the new government, I'll be nominating Ralbon as the overall commander of our forces. He has more experience than the rest of us put together, and we stand to learn a lot from him. Indeed, he is in all respects the ideal choice, assuming he accepts the post. Alamigo will have added a formidable weapon to its arsenal. And given the progress of Nanamo's resettlement initiative, I see great cause for hope. The seeds which we so carefully sowed have begun to quicken, my friends. I like that. We tend to our promises and watch as Alamigo blooms. And if memory serves correctly, I believe that is patch 4.1 complete. After we get thought we got a meanwhile. Oh, I do give thanks to the calmly that my makeshift raft withstood the fury of the seas. But there their generosity ended. Without coins in our pockets for new attire, we are doomed to look like so much jetsam. Oh, it woe betide the poor man in a city of rich merchants. These dango are delicious. Will you have one? More sweetbreads? I surrendered my blade to secure what few coins we have. Bah, 'tis like talking to a child. Why fate saddled me with this burden I shall never know, but I am alive, and I must return to my master's side. Come, Suyo. We shall find a ship to carry us across the Ruby Sea. Here's our meanwhile. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace. Have you read the report? First Doma, then Alamigo, and Lord Xenos put to the sword. Do not believe everything you read. I hear the Viceroy was merely wounded, and that he has already returned to the capital. Naturally, the savages beat their chests and boast loudly of taking his head regardless. Nay, Lord Xenos lives! Deplorable that our own officers should be fooled by Eorzean misinformation. Small wonder the provinces have begun rising up in rebellion. We must prepare an official, and above all accurate, announcement to quell these pernicious rumors. They would wage war with empty words. Let them produce the Viceroy's remains then. We shall soon put the lie to their claims. I think it's a good place to stop for the night with maintenance looming in an hour before we start getting too caught up in 4.2. I think there's really anyone probably playing Final Fantasy for another hour. I might just... Oh. Well... See who's raiding on my follow list. See, what are you doing? It's taking a minute to decide on who to send you folks off to. Oh, wait a second. This person just started Heaven's Ward. Uh-huh. One silver TV, you say. Just starting Heaven's Ward. And yeah, you are indeed starting Heaven's Ward. So let's go and welcome a new sprout, shall we? Rechannel. Alright folks, that'll be it for me tonight. Whether you're actively chatting, lurking, whatever it is you're doing, thank you so much for coming out. I don't know if you're still here, Britt, but thank you again so much for that raid. It kind of sort of broke me, but not really. I did manage to recover, so yay. As for me, I'll be off of here tonight with the maintenance happening here shortly. Tomorrow, barring anything major, should be back around 5 o'clock Eastern. And we'll pick up into 4.2. So with us rating this silver TV as a brand new sprout in Heaven's Ward, let's go welcome her, give her all the smiles, no spoilers, nothing like that. As for all of you, have a good rest of your day, rest of your night, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe out there. And I will see you folks tomorrow evening for me. Take care and have a good one.